On the scorching sands of the Kalahari Desert, a black mamba more than 2.5 meters long lies motionless. This is a reptile capable of making leopards back away and hyenas change direction, but now it is dead. There are no eagle talon marks on its skin. No lion or cheetah tracks surround the scene. There is no sign that a large python crushed it either. The body carries only one major wound. The head has been completely destroyed, and the snake has been partially eaten, starting from the most dangerous part of its body, the end armed with venomous fangs. Even the hungriest vultures circle overhead without daring to land, as if the scent of the killer is still lingering nearby. A mysterious predator appears to be targeting some of Africa's most venomous snakes, killing them again and again with the same chilling precision. It is not larger, it is not faster, and it has no venom of its own. But if you think killing a giant snake is strange enough, the way this predator survives a dose of venom capable of killing multiple adult humans will change everything you thought you knew about the wild. The black mamba is not an ordinary reptile. Across Africa, encountering one can mean the highest level of danger. It can grow to nearly 4 meters long and move at speeds approaching 19 kilometers per hour across open ground. When threatened, it does not simply coil defensively. It can raise a large part of its body off the ground, open its dark mouth, and strike forward. A single black mamba bite can deliver enough venom to severely disrupt the nervous system of multiple adult humans. The toxins act rapidly, potentially interfering with breathing and cardiovascular function within a short period of time. Sharing parts of the same environment are Cape cobras and puff adders. Cape cobra venom can cause respiratory failure, while puff adder venom damages tissue around the bite and can produce severe swelling and necrosis. In this ecosystem, the rule appears simple: stay away from venomous snakes. Large predators such as lions and leopards understand that even a bite to the leg can become life-threatening. Hyenas will eat almost anything, but they often keep a cautious distance. Even enormous elephants can become visibly agitated and change direction when they detect a dangerous snake in their path. Yet tracking devices implanted in some of these snakes repeatedly began transmitting signals indicating that the animals had stopped moving. First came a black mamba. A few weeks later, the transmitter attached to a Cape cobra went silent. Then came a puff adder. Within only a few square kilometers, some of the region's most dangerous snakes were repeatedly turning into prey. The carcasses shared the same pattern: the head had been crushed and the body eaten from the head downward. Whatever attacked them had apparently survived long enough to prevent the snakes from escaping. But the real mystery was not the bodies. It was how the predator survived the encounters. What comes next is not simply a hunt, but a challenge to the biological limits of an animal's body. When the first carcasses were discovered, wildlife observers began narrowing down the list of animals capable of causing this kind of damage. The first suspects were large birds of prey, especially eagles. They often attack from above, pinning snakes with their talons before striking with the beak. But the evidence at the scene quickly weakened that theory. No feathers were found nearby. There were no deep talon marks running along the snakes' backs. More importantly, many of the attacks appeared to have occurred at night, when most eagles were inactive. The second suspect was the mongoose. This small predator is famous for its agility and ability to avoid snake strikes. But mongooses have clear limitations. They generally reduce risk by targeting smaller snakes or younger individuals when possible. Taking on a fully grown black mamba approaching 3 meters in length would be an entirely different challenge. The size of the Kalahari victims seemed far beyond what researchers expected from a typical mongoose attack. The third possibility was a large python. Pythons are certainly powerful enough to kill other snakes, but they usually kill by wrapping around prey, constricting until circulation collapses, and then swallowing the victim whole. The carcasses at these scenes showed no obvious pattern of constriction injuries. They had not been swallowed whole either. The attacker had focused on the head, crushed it, eaten part of the body, and then walked away. Every theory reached a dead end. The only way to find the truth was to examine footage from infrared cameras hidden among bushes around the area. And when researchers replayed the first clear recording, the identity of the killer stunned the observers. It was not a giant monster, nor a predator armed with enormous claws. The animal hunting some of Africa's most venomous snakes was only about the size of a small dog and weighed less than 16 kilograms. Under the night camera, the culprit finally appeared. Black fur covered its belly and legs, while a broad grey-white stripe ran from the top of its head all the way down its back toward the tail. It was a honey badger. This is a compact carnivore with short legs and a powerful body. Since the early 2000s, the honey badger has been widely described as one of the most fearless animals on Earth. But the reality of its biology is even more fascinating than its reputation. The honey badger does not possess overwhelming physical power. It cannot sprint like a cheetah, it does not have the bone-crushing bite of a hyena, and it is far smaller than a fully grown black mamba. So what allows it to confront animals that much of the desert tries to avoid? Night cameras captured one encounter in remarkable detail. The honey badger detected a black mamba moving through the darkness. Instead of freezing or trying to move around it, the badger walked directly toward the snake. Its approach was not cautious. It was deliberate and direct. The black mamba reacted immediately. It raised its body, opened its mouth, and released a sharp, warning hiss. The snake's striking range covered almost the entire space in front of the badger. But the honey badger did not retreat. It kept circling, repeatedly moving closer and provoking the snake. Eventually, the black mamba struck with incredible speed, driving its fangs directly into the badger's body. For an animal weighing around 15 kilograms, a black mamba bite could be fatal without sufficient resistance or treatment. Yet, the honey badger kept fighting. It lunged forward, wrestled with the snake, targeted the head, and drove its teeth into the skull. The struggle ended quickly, and the badger began eating the snake at the scene. How could it survive after venom had already entered its body? The honey badger had been envenomated, but its body possesses defensive mechanisms that push far beyond what most mammals can tolerate. One of the most famous pieces of footage ever recorded in the wild does not show a honey badger winning easily. It shows the moment the animal collapses. In the footage, a honey badger attacks a puff adder. During the struggle, the snake drives its fangs directly into the badger's face. Venom enters the bloodstream. The honey badger kills the snake, drags the carcass into an open area, and begins eating it. But only a few minutes later, the venom starts taking effect. The badger loses its balance, staggers several steps, and collapses onto the ground. It lies motionless, appearing almost lifeless. Anyone watching the scene could easily believe the venom had killed it, but roughly 2 hours later, something remarkable happens. One of the badger's legs begins to move. Its body twitches slightly. Then it opens its eyes, struggles back onto its feet, and shakes out its fur. The first thing it does after recovering is not run away or search for water. Instead, it returns to the half-eaten puff adder, finishes the remaining body, and casually disappears into the bushes as though nothing had happened. The remarkable tolerance seen in honey badgers has encouraged biologists to examine the molecular mechanisms behind their resistance to certain venoms. Research suggests that, through long-term evolution, yes, parts of their nervous system have developed unusual adaptations. In biological terms, some venom toxins work like keys that must fit specific molecular locks on the victim's nerve cells. In many animals, neurotoxins can bind effectively to these receptors and interfere with normal nervous system function. In honey badgers, however, certain receptor structures appear to have evolved in ways that reduce the ability of some toxins to bind successfully. As a result, the venom may become less effective than it would be in a more vulnerable animal. Similar forms of venom resistance have evolved independently in animals such as mongooses and some opossums. Honey badgers are not completely immune, but their adaptations can allow them to survive exposures that would be extremely dangerous to many other mammals. Periods of weakness or temporary incapacitation may give the body time to metabolize and eliminate some of the toxins. Once the effects diminish, the animal can recover and resume normal activity. But changes in venom sensitivity alone would not protect a honey badger from every large snake. The real reason it can confront dangerous reptiles lies in the way its physical defenses and hunting behavior work together at the same time. In addition to its unusual venom tolerance, the honey badger possesses exceptionally tough skin. The hide is particularly thick around the neck and back. It can be difficult for snake fangs, porcupine quills, and even insect stingers to penetrate deeply enough to cause major injury. Even more importantly, the skin is remarkably loose and not tightly attached to the muscles underneath, almost as if the animal were wearing an oversized coat. This provides an enormous advantage during close combat. If a snake, or even a leopard, grabs the honey badger by the back, the badger can twist its body inside its own loose skin. It can then turn its head and attack the face of the predator, still holding onto it. Controlling a honey badger during a close-range struggle can therefore be extremely difficult. While many predators rely heavily on concealment and ambush, honey badgers can use persistent pressure during confrontations with snakes. They move constantly, change direction, provoke strikes, and force the reptile to repeatedly spend energy attacking. A snake that launches strike after strike can gradually become fatigued. Once the snake slows down, the honey badger can move in for a decisive attack. Targeting the head first is especially effective because it immediately neutralizes the fangs and venom delivery system. By disabling the most dangerous part of the snake, the badger reduces the risk of additional bites and can begin feeding more safely. The honey badger's defensive abilities are useful for far more than hunting snakes. They allow the animal to exploit an extraordinarily broad diet, containing dozens of different food sources, including prey, equipped with powerful defensive systems. Scorpions can become an easy meal. When facing one armed with a venomous stinger, the honey badger may disable the tail first and then consume the rest of the animal. The honey badger gets its name from its strong attraction to bee larvae, honey, and beeswax. To reach them, it uses powerful claws to tear apart wild beehives. Thousands of angry bees may swarm around its face, eyes, and nose, stinging repeatedly. But protected by thick skin and dense fur, the badger can close its eyes, tolerate the swarm, rip open the hive, feed, and eventually walk away. Bee stings can still cause discomfort, but they are often not enough to stop the animal from raiding the nest. This dietary flexibility helps explain why the honey badger has evolved such an unusual combination of defenses. In harsh environments where food can become scarce, the ability to exploit many different resources, including animals armed with venom, stingers, or hard protective structures, provides a major survival advantage. Even when confronting predators near the top of the food chain, honey badgers are famous for refusing to retreat easily. Wildlife observations have recorded them standing their ground against lions and hyenas. When surrounded by several lionesses, many times their size, a honey badger may raise its fur, bare its teeth, growl, and counterattack toward vulnerable areas such as the nose or legs. This intense aggression can confuse much larger predators. The loose skin makes the badger difficult to restrain, while its willingness to fight back makes the potential meal unusually costly. In many encounters, larger predators eventually abandon the confrontation because the energy and risk required are simply not worth it. Some of this behavior is reinforced through learning. Young honey badgers remain with their mothers for an extended period and observe how to search for food, confront dangerous prey, and respond to threats. Snake hunting is not simply a matter of instinct. Experience and learning can also help refine the skills needed to survive encounters with venomous reptiles. The relationship between honey badgers and venomous snakes in the Kalahari provides a striking example of evolutionary arms races. Snakes evolve increasingly effective venom and defensive strategies, while predators that regularly confront them can develop behavioral, physiological, and physical adaptations that reduce those risks. Scientists continue studying natural venom resistance in animals such as honey badgers, mongooses, and opossums, because these mechanisms may offer useful clues for future medical research. Understanding how certain receptors resist toxins could eventually contribute to improved treatments for snakebite, which affects hundreds of thousands of people around the world each year. An adaptation that evolved in a wild desert predator may therefore provide valuable insights for modern medicine. The sight of a dead black mamba on the Kalahari sand illustrates a fundamental principle of evolution. Survival does not always belong to the largest or strongest animal. It often belongs to the species best able to adapt to the specific dangers of its environment. What do you think would happen if a honey badger were introduced into an ecosystem such as the Amazon rainforest, where giant anacondas and many other highly defended species are present? Would its remarkable survival adaptations still give it the same advantage? Share your scientific perspective in the comments. And do not forget to press like and subscribe to the channel for more research, discoveries, and fascinating stories from the natural world. We will see you again in the next video.